Good afternoon, viewers. This is Elkem TV. We are live at Bija Hotel. Our major sponsor of this program, What is Law? We are so happy that we are back again. This time, I'm back with a lady. I'm trying to be gender sensitive. My name, I'm called Ahomza Emmanuel. I'm a lawyer by profession. And some other people have begun calling me a journalist, but a journalist in making. Uh, every Thursday at 4, always come here to share, to educate our viewers, our people up down there, or wherever they are watching us from. I know some are watching from Uganda, others are watching from Kenya, others are watching from Canada, all over the world. We are so happy to host to be with you, and you're most welcome. Before we start, I am going to welcome our guest. Dear guest, you're so welcome.
Thank you.
I want you to introduce yourself to the viewers so that they may know you, what you do. Maybe probably you can even tell them your experience in this legal profession. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Prudence Lukoye. You can also call me Ambitious Prude.
Ambitious what?
Ambitious Prude. That is my
Okay.
other name on the social media platforms.
Yes.
And I am a lawyer by profession. I work with the legal aid clinic of LDC, that is Law Development Center. And we offer free legal services of all sorts. We do representation, we do mediations, we do registration of companies, registration of titles, anything to do with the law. And that is why we are called the Legal Aid Clinic. Anything to do with the clinic or legal, that is what we handle.
Maybe for our viewer outside there to know more what you do, can you go slow so that they know what legal aid clinic Masili does? So that the applicants there who want uh, services from legal aid clinic
Yeah.
and they don't know how to access them, where to find you. So maybe we start with that.
So the Legal Aid Clinic is based at RDC building, that is for the Masindi branch.
Okay.
And the head office is at LDC, Law Development Center, where they teach the students of law or where they actually train advocates.
Oh, yes.
And we do offer all sorts of legal services, namely representation. We do registration.
In court.
We represent you in court. Okay, I mean, representation means you need services of a lawyer, and then we are there for you to
Now,
offer
what
those
do
services.
you represent only civil suits or criminal offenses only, or
When I talk of representation, we are handling all sorts. We are handling civil, criminal,
commercial,
and family relations, everything to do with legal or anything that requires representation.
Okay.
The services of a lawyer is what we do. Only that I think the only issue with us is that we do what we call pro bono. And pro bono means free legal services to the indigents. We are governed by a law that is called legal pro bono services to the indigents. That means that we are offering our services centering that person that cannot afford the services of a lawyer.
All right.
In all sectors. And of course, when you come to our office, we first look at what we call an assessment form, and then we see whether you're fit to benefit from our services. Yes. And actually, if you do not fall under the indigent persons, then what we do is we charge you, but of course, relatively lesser than, very good, fair than what a private lawyer would charge you.
Yes, viewers, now I think now you are getting along with us. You are understanding what we're talking about today. And based from the introduction she's telling us, you can see where you fall. If you have money, just come knowing that you're going to pay at least a fairly fee compared to other private lawyers who will charge you. Now, I'm one more question. Do you represent up to Court of Appeal, or you represent up to maybe lower court or maybe to higher court? Somebody outside they want to understand where is your limitation.
We actually have no limitation
Okay.
because we flow to all courts. We go to the magistrate courts and we go to the high court
Oh,
and we
yes.
go even as far as the Supreme Court where
Wow.
need be. Only that of course it depends on how fast you're handling your matters. There are matters that usually don't go up to the level of Supreme Court. There are matters that do not need appeals.
Okay.
So if your matter does not require an appeal, then why would we go to another court, you know?
Or in other words, you are advocating for arbitration. Most cases that people can reconcile and settle issues before without going to court. That's what
Not
you're trying to mean.
not really, because I remember very well when I was telling you the outline of our activity or of our services. I said first we offer legal representation. That means, of course, services of a lawyer in court,
Yes.
and then we also do what we call mediation.
Yeah.
Mediation and of course arbitrations and all that. That means we are at the mediation. We are not taking you to court.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Just trying
you
to iron
come,
out
you have
issues.
an issue you, with your family, with your husband, with whoever you are, and then you come to our office, and here is what we do. We write a letter or we invite the other party who you have a claim against, and then we call them to our office and we have a mediation or we have a negotiation.
Okay.
And then such that we see if we can handle that matter before it goes to court. And of course, once it fails at the level of mediation, that is when we go to court.
Okay.
Yes, and we, as the legal aid clinic, we also, like you were asking, if we only cover civil or criminal,
or
we
commercial.
also very good. We and I told you that we are all round lawyers, and like we said, we are a clinic. Everything, every sickness that involves the law, that is what we do.
Wow.
Yes.
Every
So
sickness that involves the law. Don't bring your malaria at a legal aid clinic.
very
I know when
good.
somebody hears the word clinic, we say, oh, now I saw doctors on TV, Elkem TV. They say they can treat everything.
Very good.
So diversify on that point.
Anything that requires the law, a sickness that requires a touch of the
Of the
law,
law.
that is what we do.
Okay.
And we also do what we call we have what we call sensitizations, and then we make a prison
As community what?
police. Of course, we have community sensitizations,
Yeah.
and we also do prison visits and police visits where we reach out to these people. Of course, apart from the fact that we sit in our offices and wait for the
Clients to
clients
come.
and we wait for the beneficiaries of our services to come, we also go and look out for them. And
Okay.
most of these places where we find them is the prisons and the remand homes, and we also find them, of course, at the police stations. So here we go and of course we talk to them. We introduce ourselves. We tell you we are lawyers and we offer free pro bono services.
Okay.
And then we look at what do you need? What is your need at that point? Do you need police bond? At that point, do you need to connect to your relatives? Or at that point, what is your point of need? And that is when we come in. So when we go there to police or prisons, we talk to them, and then we find out. We of
How
course
to
we
help.
yes, how can we help you? Do you need us to connect to your parents? Do you need us to connect to your family?
Relatives or
Or do
family.
you need us to talk to the complainant? And we have seen it happen, by the way. We talk to the complainant and then we settle the matter at the level of police even before going to court.
Wow. That's
Yes,
beautiful.
that is
I
what
think
we
a hand of applause to Legal Aid Clinic, not
Yeah.
only in Masini, but all over the country. And also to LDC, that's the Law Development Center. That's, I always call it a military camp of advocates. There, when you go there, I myself have been there.
I know.
I know when you go there, my dear, there's no sleep.
I know.
This issues of, I can do it when I want, like when you do it undergrad. You do what you want, you only wait for coursework. There is a must. Attendance.
Of course, at undergraduate, you're not an advocate.
You're just
You're not allowed to practice. So you need to go through this training
for you to be able to advocate.
For you to be able to advocate and for you to be able to actually now represent the
By the way,
interests of your
before we go to our topic, somebody at undergrad, I've finished my 4 years at university. I did the law.
For example,
What can that person do with that degree?
You see, I keep telling people that a law degree is just like any other degree.
Okay.
You can use it for anything. You
Mm-hmm.
can, like they keep advertising for jobs, and then they tell you the requirement is a bachelor's in a particular field. So a person that has done a law degree and has not probably enrolled
LDC
for LDC for that
for legal
postgraduate.
practice, yeah.
What I think what you can do is you can venture into consultancy.
Okay.
You can do the legal advices. But of course, the law
And documentation
restricts you. You
also.
can do the documentation, but of
Yes.
course, even when you do the documentation, you are restricted. You cannot say it was drafted by you,
Yes,
because
because you
the
have to
law
say, yeah, it's
very good.
adopted by the person who was asked for. For example, it's an affidavit. You say, adopted by
You
the
cannot swear, and
deponent.
of course it is by the deponent, but then you cannot be a commissioner
Of
at
course,
that
you
level.
can't.
You can't be a commissioner. So in simple terms, you're not an advocate. You
You are just
just
a
have an
lawyer.
ordinary.
You are lawyering.
You actually have the ordinary knowledge of undergraduate.
We always had a debate.
Mm-hmm.
I take 4 years
Mm.
at law school,
Mm-hmm.
and they tell me I'm not an advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Someone goes and adds just 1 year doing the repetition of what I did in 4 years. Then they tell me that's an advocate. What's the difference?
By the one thing you need to know is that when you're at LDC, it is not just a repetition. They are now trying to get you into the real practice.
That you filled.
Yes, because me, when I was at undergraduate, there are many things I did not value.
Okay.
There are many things I just could not do. But when you reach LDC, this is when you know, okay, so this is the real thing.
Like, for
This
example,
is
me when I was at LDC, there are things that I never valued.
Mhm.
The decorum,
very good.
the dress code,
Mhm.
is it the ethics? Is it called what? That's a word.
I mean, I think you see one thing with LDC. I think it ventures you into real practice, and that is, I think, the major thing. It is not about the paperwork and everything.
Or maybe you can say it's puts into it a tradition of law.
Probably we could say that, because a person like me, I attended Islamic University in Uganda.
Okay.
We were not wearing suits.
Wow. You just did
Like
like
us ladies, we were not wearing suits.
you put a
And I
veil
think
and
even the gentlemen wore suits on rare occasions.
all right.
When they feel like they can now wear
And now
the
at
suit.
LDC is a military
And now
camp.
at LDC,
It's either do or die.
some people call it
Dress
the
code.
torture chamber.
That's what I say about.
You know, that is when they can have the suits.
I remember one time I was talking with one of the judges. I will not mention because I have no permission to. He said LDC people perceive it as a torture chamber. You know, when you are there, it's like a military camp, military training.
True.
You don't have to waste time. That's number one. They teach you don't waste time.
You don't.
2, they teach you time management.
One time
If
were
the
in
attendance
an
is at 8
orientation.
and you come at 8:30, you miss out.
One time we were in an orientation. I think it was a meeting by Madame Mutabingwa.
Yes, Karongi.
And she told us, you people, you cannot tell me you're a student at LDC when you still sleep before 3.
So in other words, they train you
must
to
sleep before
to be a
after
hard
3.
worker,
You
hustler.
must sleep after 3,
After 3 years.
and then wake up. I think
At 5.
the most you should sleep for
It's
is
4
like
hours.
2 hours or even 3 hours. And if you sleep for 6 hours, they tell you you're not a serious advocate. And I think that is it.
Well, our viewers, today's topic is the land tenure system and how best can we secure land. But it was also very prudent, like her name Prudence, to take you to the history of law and how law works and what are the programs they offer at the legal aid clinic, and also to inform you at the head, what's the base, the headquarters of LODC or legal aid, the mother of this clinic, what happens there, so that if you are planning to become a lawyer, you have to bear it in mind that they're not coming for an easy course. That's number one. Number 2, you just to know that you're not coming to move around, to sleep over and tell people, man, I'm here. You just put on your attires, your white shirt, the collar and the robe, and then then tell people, man, I'm a lawyer. It's always being street when you are going for a moot court. And the first week when you muti, you
Mm.
put your picture. People are like, oh, Kong's lawyer, now you're an advocate. Kumbe for you, you know what
That
it is.
thing actually happened to me. That day we mooted, I took
Mm.
this photograph and it looked so wow. You know how
Yeah.
you have your flaps on and then you
Mm.
have the gown
The high
on
court
and then
flaps.
you have your, and then you have your professional shirt. Then you take your pic just for mooting and everybody's like, wow, congratulations, OG, congratulations, my God. People are just excited. They don't know what
Oh
you're going
yes.
through. Even before you know that you're going to graduate,
And
actually.
then they begin sending you clients. You hear your relatives. I have a person here. He
Mhm.
have a land claim.
You see?
He has a this and this. He has a family issue. He wants a divorce.
Actually, in my village, before I graduated, even from law school, they were
Mm.
calling me magistrate.
Oh, laba.
One time I
Kinyweze
go to the
mlinyala yaso
village.
jakubera.
One time I go to the village to see my mom,
Mm.
and then this lady is just like, Omulamuzi today. You know me, I'm a gishu, eh? Me, I'm
Aha.
a gishu. And then the lady is like, Omulamuzi today. I just knew you were happy because the Mulamuzi is there in the house.
Wow.
So people just don't actually know what is happening. And I think
Mm.
this is how
Mm.
people that are not advocates are misleading our community
They
out there.
mispresent us.
Very good.
And they actually, in a sense, we have always had people holding out.
Very good.
And by the way, don't hold out when you're not going to law
Of
school.
course, you and I know that holding out is crime.
Is a crime. So if you hold out and you're caught, my dear, at least better be someone who goes to LDC and maybe you're in a waiting. But even
True.
you're not even, you've just finished undergrad
But
and maybe you've just done a diploma. I've seen people who hold out with a diploma because they have gone to LD doing a diploma.
oh
They are a
no,
diploma, not the area of legal practice.
oh no.
And then they come and tell people, I'm a lawyer. They pose out. There are some others they used to
You
arrest
see,
at
at
LD
Masindi
spot
Court,
there.
actually, at Masindi Court, we had someone of that category,
Caliber,
and
yes.
I think he didn't even have a diploma in law, but this guy would just come and confuse everybody at court.
Which is
He comes
bad.
and tells the
We
clients,
condemn that kind of practice.
you see,
Please don't
and
do
then
it.
he
You'll
just
be
tells
arrested
everybody, you
and
see, me, I am a lawyer. You say,
prosecuted.
I am going to talk to the magistrate. I am going to talk to this one, and then everybody's like, you're going to talk to the magistrate. Okugenda kubaza nawe, okugenda kubaza nawe, and they're like, ego, okugenda kubaza nawe, iwe, just give me the money. You see,
Okay.
that is what they do.
So back to the point.
Yes.
We're talking about land system,
Mm-hmm.
tenure system in Uganda.
Yes.
We have around 5 systems in Uganda.
We have
What are those 5 systems? Somebody out there they want to know what are the systems that govern our land in Uganda. Because this week, all months, we are looking at the Land Act. And the Land Act, we know it has a history. How land system originates from the Constitution. Those articles that talks about the right to own land, and all those laws. And we want the viewers to understand. If we're talking about land, we're talking about the Constitution, the Land Act. What are those respected, acknowledged land systems? Tenures in Uganda here.
First of all, before we talk about the land tenure systems,
Yes.
one thing we need to know is that the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda provides for a right to everyone to own property.
Everyone, including, when you say everyone, you mean the citizen.
Everybody.
Because everyone, we have foreigners who are in Uganda.
Yes.
We have visitors.
Yes.
So when we say everyone, I mean we don't have to include every person.
The
so I mean we use the word citizen.
No. All people have a right to own land. Actually, whether you're a citizen or not a citizen, you also have a right to own land. When you talk about properties like land, you also have a right to own land. So we are saying that the Constitution gives a right to everybody to own property.
That's how beautiful our country
regardless
is.
Regardless of the age, regardless of the sex, regardless of your size, your tribe, whatever it is.
And your financial status.
Yes, and your financial status.
When you talk about regardless of age, does it mean even a young child can own land?
Yes.
How?
Yes. Even a young child can own land through someone else.
A guardian or someone.
Just like when someone, like a young child going to court, you don't go in your own capacity. Okay. Before you clock 18, you cannot, you don't have the legal capacity. But you can go through somebody else who we call a guardian ad litem.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Actually, that again takes us to the fact that even someone that is of unsound mind can also own land
Okay.
in
Wow.
Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that person can only own land through someone else. You get?
Mean that even that same person can even transact land through another person.
Very good. Someone else transacts on their
In
behalf.
other words, the person who holds interest on their behalf hold it in the capacity of,
they hold it on their behalf,
or in
just
trust.
like it is just like it's just like a company. Someone can tell you, how can a company own land? You know,
And yet in the
ideally
law,
you
call it a
and
legal person.
yes, of course, you and I know, for example, Victory Bija Hotel is
A company.
a company.
Yes.
And Victory Bija Hotel, let's say, is owning around 5 acres
Of land
in
town.
Masindi, which is titled land. And then somebody will ask you, how? Victory Bija is not a person, you see. But you and I know that, of course, you and I know that that a company is a legal person.
Yes.
Yes, it is an artificial person that
It
has
has a
the
right to sue.
capacity to transact. It can sue and be
be
sued.
sued,
So
yes.
therefore, it has a right to own land.
Yes. Now back to our tenure system question.
Yes.
What are
Yes.
those land tenure system and how do they work?
So basically, I think I'll first mention the tenure systems that we have in Uganda. And the
Okay.
first one we have, I think, is the leasehold tenure system. And then we have the freehold tenure system. We have the customary land. And then we
Milo.
have the Milo land.
And then we have, with the government added, is it public land?
Yes, the government added its own
Public land.
public land.
Yeah.
Yes. So how someone would ask
So now
that,
now there are 5 tenure systems
so
in Uganda.
yes, so basically there are 5, but
Recognized one are 4.
many people know 4.
The 4 ones.
Many people know 4 because the 5th one is actually getting extinct. The one of public land is getting
But
extinct.
now I remember government is trying to own land. I think to be revived, since the government wants to own land, so that it may do their work without being intervened. I mean, disturbed with issue of payment to people who are holding land,
I may
requesting
not.
land. You know. Anyway,
I may not be in better position to say that because the governance of this country is,
the constitution.
of course, and then of course you don't know what the leader will decide.
Oh yes.
Or what amendments will be proposed for the constitution to provide for the public.
So now we have said there are 4. The major ones are 4.
Yes.
Milo, customarily, leasehold, and freehold. So maybe just in a simple term, what does freehold? How does it freehold look like?
Ideally,
is it a title land? Is it just a no? Or maybe let's begin with customarily.
Customary land.
Yeah.
Okay, now when we talk of customary land, this is land that is owned. Like I told you, that the constitution provides for a right of everyone to own property, either as an individual. I think that is what we had omitted, that either as an individual or in association with others.
Oh yes.
So what does that mean? That you can either have it as a person,
or as a community,
or as community, or as a group. So when we talk about customary ownership of land, this is a land tenure system that covers maybe having a group of people owning land and then using it together.
Okay.
Ideally, it could be clans or tribes. And I think customary land tenure system is majorly in the north.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is majorly in the north, I think.
I think that is which is system of governance. It's not kingdom, it's chiefdom.
Yes, whereby you have a particular clan or you have a particular group of people or family using the same land, and then after they are tired of maybe using it, they shift. You know how they keep making rotations, or they say now this clan is owning this particular piece of land, and then they'll be using it for this time. They get tired, things like that.
And don't you think the benefits of customary land are best? Because now, ideally, customary land, as you said, is owned communally. It's never individually.
True.
In other words, there's security for land. If you and I are from the community, let me say, of Acholi people, and the land we have is based either communally or family, because it's either it has to do with community, or it has to do with tradition, or it has to do with a family. You understand? And in other words, if we get to get a title, the title will come in the names or in the interest
of the whole
of the
clan.
whole clan or
Actually,
the
that is
community.
what happens.
See, that means it's very hard for anyone to say that I own land personally, individually in this community.
I would say that it is it for the security, of course, for the security of all clans,
Okay.
of all members of the clan, it is better. However, I think the problem I have with the customary land tenure system is that you cannot do anything to the contrary of other people's interests. For instance, me, I want to plant groundnuts for this season. And then my father says, no, me, I want to plant maize. So you'll have issues. You'll always have that
Conflict of
struggle.
interest.
Very, very good. So your father will be saying, me, I want to do this. The other one will be saying, me, I want this. You cannot even sell. In case you have an issue, even as an individual, or even as a family, as a head of that family, you'll get issues
Now,
getting land, getting money from
a
that
person
land.
outside there want to understand. I want to break off from customary and own an individual title. By law, how do I do it?
By law, you register for the title. Of course, you apply, and then they get you the title. You, of course, have to show them the origin that now this has been customary land. But of course, subject to the customs of that area where you are staying.
Don't you think now that will mean that I have to get a consent of the community leaders?
Definitely.
Because someone outside there want to know, I'm living in customary community where land is owned communally, customarily. That it doesn't belong to only me alone. Or if it's a family, let's use a family for example. If a land is owned in a family, the whole family members are beneficiaries. Now me, Biekwasa, I want to get my own personal title. Maybe I feel like the world is changing.
Out of the same land?
Out of the same land.
You cannot. Of course, you have to get consent from all these other members.
So that means the first procedure is convince the clan heads and all the members,
which is
to
not
allow
possible.
you.
Because even when you're applying for it, they'll first look at the intention. You and I know that the law, of course, considers done that must be done. So if for you your interest is evil, and of course equity says that when those that come to equity must have clean hands. If your intention is an evil intention, definitely you may not succeed in your intentions.
So in other words, it will easily be hard for me.
It can be easy. You see, there is a difference. I think we have a mismatch. There is a difference between you owning land from customary land. For instance, I buy land in my village. In my village, Namisindwa. Like I told you, I'm a Gishu from Namisindwa. So I buy my land from Namisindwa in my own village. I have bought the piece of land from maybe one person there has agreed to sell to me a piece of land. However, I now want this land to become a titled land. How do I do? I register the same to be administered under the RTA, under the Registration of Titles Act. Now, that is different from you saying, I have land that I am owning communally. You are owning land with other people, and you want now to register this very land that you're owning with other people, or subject to other people's interests, that you want to register it and get a title.
Can I convert that customary land into another tenure system?
You can.
Which is the easiest tenure system that I can convert that for?
You can convert it to freehold.
Now, what are those basic ways of, now maybe let me say, what's the freehold land?
Freehold. Freehold means that you're owning this land in perpetuity. You own it up to, when we talk of perpetuity, it means you're owning it until you die. Or, of course, forever, it becomes your property. Yes, and it is actually in your names. And of course, freehold, when you talk of freehold, is that titled land. Titled land whereby you have a title in your names.
How many systems of land that can be converted to freehold?
We can actually, there is you You can even
Leasehold
change leasehold
to a freehold.
to a freehold. You can change the customary still to a freehold. Yes,
So what is a freehold?
basically.
What's that? We said freehold is
Freehold
owned.
is where you own land in perpetuity without any other person's interest and
and
with no limitations
and then
to that
leasehold.
particular piece. Now, leasehold, like we were saying, of course, I remember telling you, and actually we had an argument. I remember you were saying that how about someone that is not Ugandan, someone that is not a citizen? That is why I said that whether citizen or not, the law of Uganda provides for everyone to hold land or to own property in Uganda. When you look at the Land Act, it provides for, of course, individuals and then companies which can hold land. Now, the companies or individuals who are not citizens in Uganda can only own what we call leasehold tenure system. They can
Or
own
leasehold
land
title.
under leasehold, or they can actually own a leasehold title. Now, when we talk of leasehold title, it is not. It
Temporary.
means it is temporary. It has a limitation.
Yes.
It has a period of time that it will end. You can acquire a lease of, let's say, 45 years. You
With
can
a fee.
49 years, of
Yes.
course, with a fee.
With a fee, and also
Yes.
it has to have a purpose.
Of course, and then you can even have a lease of 5 years. We've actually had an argument because the law provides that anyone that has a lease of 3 must register, but we even have leaseholds of 3 years.
Wow.
Yes, so you can have a leasehold of 3 years or 5 years, 45 years, or 100 years.
So
that is 99
for you
years.
to have a leasehold, you have to have a letter from the proprietor, the real owner of maybe a freehold land.
No, ideally, it may not be formally freehold land.
Okay.
Anybody that is owning land
With a
and
title.
that person is not a citizen of Uganda, that is the first category. Whether you're an individual or you're a company, you hold it on leasehold. Actually, whatever interest you have, whether it has been customary or freehold, whatever it is, once it is being transferred to a non-citizen, it will be in form of a leasehold. And we also have people, of course, who were formerly Ugandans and have now denounced that they am no longer Ugandan, you know. So even such a person, even if they had a leasehold, even if they had a freehold or middle,
or customary,
it automatically
leasehold.
becomes a leasehold because this person is not a Ugandan.
Now, you see, we are looking at leasehold, and leasehold, we have understood, viewer, that is a temporary way of owning land. You hold land for a certain period of time.
True.
And that the time you are holding it, you must pay fee, isn't it? Either like ground rent.
They have to pay ground rent, of course.
Either annually or depending on how
they pay a premium.
A premium, yes.
Yeah.
Depending on how you and the landlord agree. Then two, the leasehold system, you hold it for a certain period of time, as we said.
Which
then
is
it also
agreed.
must, yes, which agreed. And then also there must be a purpose.
True.
What is the purpose of why you want this leasehold, this land? Why are you leasing it for?
And maybe one thing you need to note is that usually when you divert or when you
divert from the
turn
purpose you agreed
very good,
in a lease agreement.
Yes, that is one point. That is one ground for the
breach.
Determination.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, we're going to come to determination of the leasehold. So we have looked at the leasehold. It is first major conditions. One, for a land to become a leasehold, one, either somebody who wants to own it, who want to lease, must be a non-Ugandan, or a company that its major shareholders are owning more percentage than the indigenous, isn't it? The number two, we have looked at the purpose.
True.
Why do you want them? Is it for farming? Is it an education center? Is it a hotel? So you must, the purpose must be clearly spelled out in a lease agreement for it to become a lease.
True.
Those are features. Now talking about the features. Then another feature is the fee, the premium. the premium has to be
and of
specified.
course you have agree on, or you have to agree on the rent that
Agree
you'll
the
be
rent,
paying
yes, ground rent,
and
how much.
and of course the interval in which you'll be paying the rent. And maybe another thing we need to note is that this leasehold is always renewable.
It's renewable, yes,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. It is
According to the
renewable.
contract, actually, it must also be spelled in the leasehold agreement.
Very
I mean, the
good.
lease agreement,
Yeah,
so
very
that
good.
maybe it will be renewed under these terms. It could be maybe, for example, the owner, the landlord may say, upon maybe 50 years, it comes back to me. And then I think one thing I know about the leasehold is it true that whatever is in the land at any development that, for example, if you are doing agricultural maybe company
Mm,
and that's in that land, and you have leased it as maybe as a company,
mm,
and you have established infrastructure,
mm.
do you break them?
No. Anyway, it depends on the arrangement. If your agreement was that at the end of the
I know,
tenure
yes,
or at the
yes.
end of the period, the
Mm.
agreed period, you just need to get back the land to the owner the way it is, well and good. However, usually I think what people do is that they agree, and the landowner
Mm.
now, the
Mm.
lessor,
Mm.
yeah, we call the lessor and the lessee.
Yes. Mm.
Yes, now the lessor, this person who
Who is the
is the
landlord?
landlord, the
Mm.
owner of this land, this land,
Mm.
can actually pay you for the development of the
But that
land.
must also be agreed.
Yes,
It
that
must
is
be
why I
stated
said
clearly.
that depending on how you people have agreed, that this person can pay you for the development. I am
Mm.
the lessor and you
Mm.
are the lessee.
Okay.
Yes, and you have developed this land. The time has reached, and of
You want to
course,
go
it
back.
has expired.
Mm.
That
And
is
maybe I'm not willing to
has
renew.
expired. You're not willing to renew things
Okay.
like that. So you agree, and actually they pay.
You
I
pay,
pay you.
you value, and
Yes,
then pay.
yes.
Yeah, viewers, I think now you are understanding these systems. We have so far spoken about three. We moved from customary to freehold, and now we are in the leasehold. Our major focus are trying to look at the leasehold because I know some of you, maybe your parents must have leased out land to some people, and these are the questions you have been having into your mind. Now back to the leasehold.
Yeah.
I've leased my land.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are two incidents that can happen,
Mm.
and this view somebody want to understand them. One, before the lease, the time we agreed ends, and I feel I want to go back. How can I amend that
You vary. You vary. You agree.
one?
You agree with the other person, and then you vary. You make an addendum.
What do you mean by
That
varying and
is,
addendum?
of course, you agree with the other person, and you tell them, you
The
see now,
landlord.
yes, we need. Of course, variation is simply changing or amendment of the agreement that you
Mm.
people had initially.
Okay.
So you tell them, probably I had agreed with you to have this
Land
maybe
for
lease
this
for this
long.
period, but I feel I can no longer do it.
Mm.
So how about we just agree, and then we change. We
Change to the
vary
to
the
lesser time.
period. Yes. Or you terminate. You can terminate it at
I
will.
think the best way is to terminate at will.
Yes, you can terminate
Saying
it
is,
at
I'm no longer
will.
interested. I have other options. I can no longer keep it for long. I'm handing it over back to you.
Definitely.
And either maybe look for another. I've seen it. Maybe me, the lesser. I say I've got to some other person to.
No, I think usually a lease agreement is just like a contract between the two parties. So any of them, either of them, can choose to terminate. But of course,
At will.
the law will always look at who is injured most.
Mm.
Because if you're the lessor and then the lessee just tells you, you see, me, I want
To go.
to go, and then maybe the conditions will also vary, because he may tell you, me, I want to go, and then you have to pay me all my money.
Or the remaining time. And
Very
then
good.
immediately I
And
will
then
tell
he
you,
doesn't even
I
have
am not
the
prepared. I'm
money.
not told to go, and I don't have the money. I'm using, so it's either you to leave it or you spend you finish up your time.
Very good.
Okay.
Yes.
So I think now our viewers there, you must be already understanding what we're talking about. Most of the questions you have been having in your mind are already answered. And I know you also must be having something you know that we don't know. Please, you're most welcome. Your comments, there's the comment section. We shall be reading them as time comes. And we are already at the high gear on the land systems in Uganda. Now, after the land system in Uganda, we have already looked at the three. And the one we are more focused on was the system of leasehold. What is the other type of system that we are running with?
Now, of course, ideally, we were also talking
Milo.
about we did customary, yes.
Yes, and freehold.
Yes, and
Now
freehold.
now we're Milo.
And now we are remaining with the Milo, whereby you have you own this land in perpetuity also. Actually, the difference.
But what's the perpetuity?
Perpetuity means you're owning land forever.
Forever.
Yes.
Wow.
With no limitations
With no
of
limitation.
time.
Yes.
Yes. Until of course you decide yourself. So like say I am going to buy Hotel Bija. It is my land. So I have the title for it. I am going to own it in perpetuity.
Who are these people who own Milo land?
Now, actually, like I was saying, that Milo land is also just like we have looked at freehold. It is also owned in perpetuity. However, I think there are only like 2-3 things that distinguish Milo land from the other tenures of land. For instance, the fact that there is a requirement of paying rent.
Obsuro.
Yes, obsuro.
Yeah.
Actually, Milo land is majorly in Buganda. In Buganda, in many parts of Buganda, where you have the owners. Actually, it's called Chibanja, the Bibanjas, the Bibanja holders,
And
whereby you have.
Kabaka.
Sometimes it is not even the Kabaka. Yeah, there are none that is not even owned by the Kabaka. Yes, so
by
some
individuals
people, who are also landlords. And then when you're buying, of course, you buy subject to the interest of the
landlord.
Yes.
And you pay through to landlord.
Very good. You have to pay the landlord ground rent.
So that's what makes it different from freehold and the customary.
What makes freehold different from Milo and maybe others
customary land from
is that here you have different owners. You have the landlord and then another owner who is a Milo land holder. You have someone that is owning the title, and then you are also settling on the same land.
Meaning that now, for example, you want to say the Kabaka under the Buganda Land Board and also the landlord. And then also a person who is...
No. For instance, the Kabaka is your landlord. He is the landowner.
So you pay
so you have to pay busulu to him.
Okay.
You own this land in perpetuity. It is yours. But you only have it on condition that you are paying the rent.
So the moment you forfeit paying busulu, that means you have breached.
It can be a condition for the other one not giving you the land. For actually evicting
you from the
land. They can evict you.
Wow. Viewers, I think you understand. Those are in Kampala and you are owning Milo land. Yeah, please be in the know that you must pay busulu to your landlord. If you don't pay busulu, by law, we have already heard from our senior here. She has told us landlord can use that clause to evict you as a breach of the contract.
It is even very funny, actually. They keep telling us, Mbumwegule. You know what that means? Like, you have been on the land. You have been paying rent.
So, yes.
And then someone tells you, we are going to sell all of you to another different owner. But you know it very well. You have a chibanja. You even have an agreement for it. But
receipts of payment.
You know, and then someone is telling you, bomba mwagala kusigala kutaka mwegule. And then you have to actually pay now money to that landlord. Actually, the option of buying, usually when the landlord wants to sell, the option of selling usually has to be given to the Bibanja owners. Yes, that in case they can just buy themselves off and then they just pay the money and then have themselves.
Do you mean that when you buy yourself off, you're no longer in the Milo system? You become now the
owner. You also become the landlord. So if you wish, you can give it. You can.
So that means the system does not change from Milo.
It may not change.
It stays Milo, but now you become the landlord.
Yes.
Okay.
You now also start, having other people under you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the public land system?
The public land system, like we said, you see, Uganda also loves itself. Okay. But of course, what we can say is that the public land is majorly that land that is owned by government. Yes, usually like under the Uganda Land Board,
Mm,
there is that land that is governed by the Uganda Land Board, and of
mm,
course, it
mm,
is also considered as a public land.
mm,
That
okay.
land that is owned by the government, majorly.
Mm.
That other, of course, it is the government now to maybe decide and give you part or resettle its people there and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are moving somewhere, and we are so happy that we are moving with you people. Yeah, now we have another one question.
Mm.
What are the best, or what is the best land tenure system in Uganda that you can recommend to a viewer outside there?
That seems like a difficult question to answer.
No, just like from the explanation I've had,
Mm.
what is that best system that you can really yourself recommend someone out there?
Basically, I could say that it depends on an individual.
Mm.
But personally, uh, I would prefer freehold,
And why?
where I have my own rights on a title and
Mm.
no one else has the interest on the same.
So you would prefer
I would prefer freehold.
freehold.
Yes,
And how
I
best
have
can you
my land.
secure your land as a citizen of Uganda?
And of course, how do I secure my interest
Mm.
in land as a Ugandan
Mm.
is by the choice of land ownership I want. And like I
Mm.
have told you, first that my interest would be owning a freehold. So
Mm.
you register it
Mm.
and you bring it under the operation of the RTA, what they call the Registration of Titles Act. And that is how
Mm.
you hold the title and you're now safe.
Mm.
That is, I think, the only way you can be safe. According to me, of course, this is my own opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. Somebody could be there listening to me and they're like, the council is telling us to own it. It's mine to own freehold this thing.
Mm.
But for me, I feel customary is better. No, that is my opinion.
And there are some people here who are saying they will prefer custom. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason is the most common tenure system in Uganda,
Mm,
whereby access to land is governed by the customs,
mm,
rules, and regulation of the community.
mm.
Holders of the land under the customary system do not have a formal title to the land they use, but generally have secure tenure.
Very good. And like I told you that was my opinion. You see, everybody
Mm.
has a reason for
Mm.
whatever they choose on as their option.
No,
Someone that
opinion, eh?
has chosen on a customary ownership is
Mm.
actually very right because
Mm.
you don't have to sit and worry.
Mm.
You don't have to sit and worry of what is going to happen next because you know that the entire clan, the entire family
Mm.
is protected. You all have
Protected.
an interest. And you know that even when you go and you move up and down and everything fails, you know that I'll always go back home and do what? And find that piece of our land
Oh,
that is
okay.
secured
Meaning that
for us.
your future is secured,
Very
your
good.
generation is secured,
You
your
secure the future just like
ancestors.
Mzee did it,
Eh.
securing the future by owning customary
Yeah, by
land.
the way, to me also, I would prefer this is the best way because families will not shift like how these other systems
Mm-hmm.
can shift. For
Mm,
example, in a freehold, someone will come and buy you off
mm.
and set up and destroy even their ancestral grounds
Very good.
and demolish the whole
Regardless of the
memories.
interest,
Yes,
regardless of the
the
interest.
memories you had built
True.
there, and then put maybe a flat,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe the person has come is maybe not even of your culture, and then when you come back here from US, you come back home, you find Mnange, we shifted now, we are in a different location.
Mm,
Now building memories in a new
mm,
place to take a long
mm,
time,
true.
and actually even children they will need to know where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
So with this other system of the land tenure system, they will not preserve the memories of those people.
Mm,
So me, I would prefer also the custom one because the customer you have the collective interest
mm,
where all of you have the same interest,
mm,
and then that means you always have a memory. You always have a, how do I call it? Uh Jova.
mm.
You have
You have
Jevudeyo.
an origin
Like
that
an
may never
origin.
move.
It will never move.
True.
Yes. Wagena kumugano zanya, you find the same river still
Mm,
intact.
mm,
So I think the customer one is best and it's good.
mm.
Me, I will recommend viewers, if you are there and you are in a customary land, please preserve the customary system, because it will preserve your custom, it will preserve your norms, and it will preserve your culture. But when we
That's
entangle it with this other system, you sell it out and you sell all your interest. Just be know that your children will not be able to know where you came from, how you grew up, and what was the environment surrounding you.
are you also considering the fact that there are many things that are revolving around the world and changes are
Yes.
coming?
Yeah, we are seeing evolution of many, like for example, evolution of technology. We have now high technology vehicles that can do demolish within one day, and then demolish and change the land future, and it changes completely.
So are you against such developments in the customary tenure?
Yeah, I am, because they change a lot. There's many things that change, and you never see them anymore.
Because you and I,
Like for example, let me tell you an example. When you go to Guru, they have the places they respect. They have the place where they bury their people. It's a central place, even in Uganda. Now, when you change to maybe to the private or public, or maybe let me say Milo, I mean no freehold, or you change it to which other system, leasehold. All these things will be gone.
but I would still say that someone that has a freehold would still be in a better position, because with my title, I can put this land as security in the bank
and get money.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the benefit
For
of
other
other
things.
tenure systems like freehold.
And like
Because
I
you can
said,
secure
it
you
is
can
even
mortgage it.
better. Actually, even with my title, no one is going to come and challenge me. I can still preserve it at my own interest. That is not protected if I have a customary ownership of land.
Can you caveat customer system?
Caveating? You can.
How? Because now I believe who is in the best position to caveat?
Anyone.
Who is
Depending, of course, on the interest you are trying to protect. And then it will give you the rights of who has the right to. Now, if the clan comes up as a whole against, let's say, one person, then why not?
Maybe one more question. Do you think customary system can preserve family? Because now, like for example, issues of bequeathing and giving out property. Do you think they are well managed under customary?
Actually, under customary, you don't own, and therefore you can't bequeath.
Wow.
Under customary, the customary ownership I know, the one I studied.
Yeah.
You cannot bequeath because it is not your property.
It's now
but you just use subject to the interest of other people. But you don't
own
it. And you and I know very well that when you're bequeathing property, let's say in a will, it must be your own property. Property you own. Property
not
you have
even the one you are holding in trust.
No, not even. Why would you? Now the one you're holding in trust means it is not.
Yeah, by the way, we have seen people. Yeah, comment. We have seen people. Let's welcome our comments. As we have seen people who want to sell out land or property that they are holding in trust as administrators. They think they are omega and they are owners of the land.
No, when you're an administrator, you're the owner of the land. When you're an administrator, you're the owner of the land.
Yeah, let me welcome our team to give me comments, and I go through them so that before we close, we see and we hear and we know what are the mindset of the viewers outside there. Please let me welcome our technical team. Okay. These are the comments from you, the viewers. Okay. I see Mayanja Daniel says, thanks for the show. Watching live from Sin Town. Yeah, thank you so much, Mayanja. Yeah, we have best cleaning services. They say thank you for the show, guys. We are live. Yeah, we are happy, Machine Cleaning Service. We are so happy. Thank you for the best service you offer to the people around, and you have eased the life of other people who love or who are so busy.
Or who are lazy.
Not my word. Then Jackie Mubiru. Great and important enlightening discussion. Thank you, Elkem Media. So Elcom Media, that appreciated your work. Thank you
Mm.
for bringing services to the doorsteps of
Closer to the
of the
people.
people.
True.
Matov Dennis, just appreciating. Thank you, Elcom Television. Thank you. Thanks our host lawyer Emmanuel and the guest. Thank you so much for the show. Yeah, we are also so privileged and we appreciate you back. Thank you for acknowledging us.
And for the
Our
attention.
and for the attention by the way. And putting your MBs, no, they're free, they're no longer free things in this
True,
generation.
true, true.
You say someone tell you, give me free airtime and I talk.
That is why they say education is expensive.
Yeah. So far those are the comments and we shall be reading them more if you as you send them. But as we are winding up, we want to thank the management of Elcom TV for educating the people about the law.
True.
It's really important. Not many media houses do this. People are looking for money. People are looking for promotion brands, but you have chosen to educate people on the law, and we pledge to commit to educate these people so that they may know before they come to get lost. They will at least have heard what to do before time. Thank you so much, and yes, yeah. So far, those are the comments we have had, and maybe as we conclude, what is your word for our people out there who are listening?
Now, maybe one thing I can only tell our people is that the world is becoming wild every now and then, every day, every minute. And therefore, you need to protect the interests you have as
How
an
do you secure
individual.
it?
And of course, like I told you, if you have your piece of land, it is better actually, like I had chosen, that you put it under the operation of the RTA, which we call the Registration of Titles Act, and you secure a title
Where's the
for your
LTA's
own
office?
land. You go to the lands office. Actually, we have a lands office here in Masindi town. It is located along Masindi Port Road.
Maybe you can just say
Actually,
near
after
court.
court.
After
Yeah,
court,
near
yeah.
court. It is actually between the RDC building. Actually, it
Masini
is between.
Stadium and
Yeah,
court. Masini
no,
court.
it is between RDC building and Masindi court.
Maybe just say for easy navigation opposite court view.
Oh, actually,
It's opposite
next
the
to
court
Boma
view.
grounds.
Yeah.
Yes, next to Boma grounds.
Mm.
That is where you can find the lands office. Or in the alternative, actually, like I told you, these are the services that we do as lawyers. So you can just pop into our office, or you can go to any lawyer that can actually help you to have your land secured, to be registered.
Yeah, thank you so much, Madam Prudence. And also, me, I want to add a voice and say, all people outside there, please secure your interest of land by registering your land and have a title.
Would you
These
register
issues
your
of Kibanja,
customary? Would you register your
for
customary?
customary, leave the customary land alone because it's safeguarding you and your generation.
True.
But for these other types of tenure system, please register your land because it may help you when you want to get a loan in a bank and mortgage it. It may help you when you want to get when the government want to do something in that community, they will look for a title land. That means the development will not bypass you. And more so, it will safeguard the future of your children.
True.
Because when someone's land is registered, now the law recognizes the proprietor, the person who has registered it. And the beneficiaries or interest will be protected because the person who has registered it will always, under the law, allow any change in case the person is not around, or even when you want to sell for the benefit of you and maybe and your people, you can sell it and the value of the title land is more best higher than the Kibanja land.
Kibanja and customary and all that.
Yeah, so if you want to increase the value of your land, please title it.
True.
I remain your host, Awumza Emmanuel. May God bless you so much. Meet you next Thursday next week. God bless you.
Bless you.